Hello, hello. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of Welcome to the Bomb House Podcast. I hope everybody survived this past week's royal wedding shenanigans. Anyway, I wanted to have a brief intro for our next guest. I'm going to call her Patty M. I met her last year when she was getting quotes for a record. She was looking for somewhere to record her record, and when I met her, I was so inspired by her story and what she was doing. I don't want to give too much away, but I think a lot of times as an artist, and I run into a lot of artists that they feel like they need to have things done in a certain time in their life, right? Like by the time I'm 25, I want to be able to say I did this or whatever. And Patty's story is totally different, and it's awesome, and it's inspiring. And I hope it encourages you. And it's not just about music; it's about everything. If you have a passion in your life, like I love video games, it's something I love. But if you love art, or if I don't know, you could decide to become a chef at whatever age. It doesn't matter. But this is a great story of someone who planned for the future and is pursuing her dreams. So enjoy this episode. She's so cool. You get to meet somebody that's really doing something unique in our area. God bless. Hello, hello.
What's going on, everybody?
Welcome to the Bomb House.
It just gets better every time.
This is the best sound effect.
Every time.
Well, we have another first.
Yeah.
For our podcast.
Right on. I'm excited about this one.
There's a lady, a female, on the couch right now, right?
Yeah.
And she's awesome. Her name is Patty. Pronounce your last name, Patty.
Mazzucato.
Patty M. That's
Correct.
how you show up. Patty M.
You're
That's
right.
how you show up in my phone,
Right.
my emails, and basically all communications.
Patty Mazzucato.
Yes, but
I can say it.
yeah, there you go. There you go. So this is really cool. Patty, when did we meet? Was it last year?
Late in 2017.
Yeah,
like
last year.
November-ish or
so
something.
at the time, and this is really cool. In our podcast, we do like to feature artists, at least a few every season, and I thought you would be great because you really have a cool story, and so anyway, end of last year, you were looking at recording a record, correct?
Right.
And
That's
you
right.
came in to hang out here in the studio.
Yep.
And we talked about the possibility of me producing a record for you.
Yep.
And I think you brought a guitar, right? You brought your
I
guitar.
did, yes.
And that's normal. Normally when people come here, I'm like, yeah, just bring a guitar, use my guitar.
Yeah.
I don't need anything fancy. I just need to hear you a song. And
Yeah.
and you sang, what was the first song? Was it My Old
It
String?
might have been a My Old
Yeah.
Shrine, yeah.
Which, it's this like cool, like fun, raunchy rock tune with this, like I can't even explain it, and I don't want to give anything away because we're almost done finishing your record.
Yeah.
We're gonna finish up some vocals this week, and we're gonna add some odds and ends.
Nice.
So when it's ready to come out, we're gonna let our audience know.
Yeah.
And that's a part of the reason I wanted you to be on here to, promote
sweet.
what's happening.
Yeah.
But this lady sings this song for me, and I don't even know if I let you get past the second chorus, did I?
No, I don't think so.
I think I just told you to stop.
Yeah,
Because I knew 20 seconds in to the song, I'm like, I got to produce this record.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we don't have a video of this podcast yet.
Yeah.
But if I could describe Patty is little, right?
Yes. I'm
Short.
petite, yes.
Little lady, and she plays the crap out of that acoustic guitar. Hey, when I say she hits that thing, man, it's like
Horde.
it's percussive.
Yeah.
It's percussive, and she just went into this song, and I was like, "Son of a gun, this is great."
We gotta do it.
Yeah, and it's really fun. We actually ended up getting, we brought in Jason, my drummer, and man, that song it's one of many really cool songs, and it just we met that day, right? And it's hard to explain that process when people come to the studio. To me, when I'm producing records, it's so much more relational than it is about, I just instantly heard the songs and I'm like, I think we batted back some ideas. I'm like, hey, I'm hearing this. What do you think? And you were like, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And we sort of instantly knew, production wise what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So a couple of months later, we started working on your record. And we've gotten to know each other. I mean, we see each other almost every week, right? Yeah. And when you're, I don't know how many hours we'll have in your record, but it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
So when you're working on music in the studio, you're with your producer for lunch, dinner. It's everything. You're literally a part of my life.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're, these couple of months.
Yeah.
And I have really enjoyed getting to know you. It's been fun.
It has been fun for me too.
And I'm gonna be a little bummed when we finish up, but I think it's good because I've gotten to know you, and when we were working on season 1 of the podcast, I actually told Jimmy about you. Yeah. I said, man, I met somebody really cool. I think would be really interesting for the podcast. And so let's talk about how you ended up in North Carolina. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Medford, Massachusetts, which is a suburb, but it's really an extension of Boston.
Okay. Yeah.
And I went to school for most of my life there, and then started working a lot of places around New England.
So you stayed up north professionally?
Yes, for a while. My last place I was living before we moved here was New Jersey. And
so you stayed up north mostly?
Yeah. New Jersey was as far south as I'd ever been.
So
you and your husband retired.
That's right.
In this area.
He retired first.
Yeah, he retired first.
Right.
I remember we had a funny conversation about this.
That's right. And he, I was a teleworker.
She was jealous. Jealous. Her husband retired first. What did your husband do?
He's a biopharmaceutical researcher. Biomedical.
I can't even pronounce. I cannot even repeat what you just said.
Biochemist, basically.
A biochemist, and he retired before you did.
Yes.
Right, and you told me this story, like you would come home and he was like doing whatever his woodshop stuff he likes doing, and you were like, "Wait a second, I want to stay home."
Me too.
And you got jealous there. So your husband retired first,
right,
and then you retired,
right. And I was still working, and since I was a teleworker, I'd been a teleworker since 2001.
So you worked from home.
Yeah, we could move. And I could work anywhere as long as we had an internet access. And so New Jersey was killing us with taxes. So he said after he retired,
really expensive to live up there?
Crazy expensive.
Like, were you in a major city or?
No, we were in the middle of the state, and we had 4 acres of wooded land.
Oh, so it was rural.
It was rural, but we were like in the most expensive county, the most expensive township in the most expensive county in the most expensive state. So
when you all came down here and looked at prices, it was probably a good sticker shop.
Absolutely. It was. And so, so we started talking about moving because we knew we would, it was killing us to live there, the money and everything. And I really wanted to come down south. I really loved the Keys.
So had you visited?
No.
But you like Florida.
I love Florida. Yeah. My husband kind of likes 4 seasons, so we're kind of looking around, and I said, Asheville, that looks kind of interesting. So I did a little research on Asheville. It sounded like a place that we'd probably connect with. And so then we just saw like an ad for land down here on TV one day up in New Jersey.
That is crazy. So they run ads up there?
This one development did.
The developer did.
And so I said, well, this is a good excuse for us just to go down there and explore the area. So, we were waiting for a 3-day weekend to come up. We finally did. We drove down here. And on the way home, we bought the land.
Wow.
It was like that. It was
like you connected with it that fast.
Immediately. We have, views.
And you built a house there, correct?
We built a house, right.
Man, and how many years ago was this?
That was in 2000. Well, we moved here in 2011.
2011.
Right.
Okay. That's awesome that you guys retired down here.
Yeah.
And so you go to Asheville a lot. You go to Marion, right? And you go to Morganton.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Hickory now and then.
And you guys have enjoyed, like, was there an adjustment period with anything?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like the pace of things?
more the talking.
I think the real question is, are you still in that adjustment period?
No.
Because it took us a long time coming from just a more eastern part of the state. So.
No, we did adjust eventually. I think the hardest thing was to realize we were the ones with the accent and everybody else was speaking was normal.
Well, what kind of words? Let's think of some words that would have stumped you, like holler, holla.
Holler.
What else?
Yonder.
Walmart's.
Walmart. This one always got me. Ewan's.
Yeah.
It always boggled
I'm sure you've heard that one.
Yes.
And I'm a North Carolina boy. But
well, our first encounter was when our builder, we were still up in New Jersey when our house was being built down here, and we'd have conversations with him. He'd call us up to let us know how the house was coming and everything. And he goes, "Well, I'm going to put in a pipe." And my husband and I,
what?
I looked at each other saying, "What's a pap?"
I'm tracking completely with this right now. I know exactly what she's saying.
I can see you guys like Googling what a pap is. Wait a second. When we Google pap, really bad things are popping up on Google Images right now.
Is that what they call a grandfather?
What is it?
And then we finally figured out he was talking about a pipe by our pronunciation.
That is great.
Yeah.
I can see you guys hovering around the phone going, what?
It was.
That is great.
And then, we came down here and it just took a little while to adjust.
Yeah.
What about like the adjustment to our food? Because we don't have healthy food here. Our best food is like fried with gravy.
Yeah.
Like, have you had biscuits and gravy?
Yes, I have.
And
have you had
how
liver
was that
mush?
moment? We're going to get to that in a second.
Okay, sorry.
How was that moment when you had biscuits and gravy for the first time? Were you let down? Were you know?
I was neutral.
Really? My God.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would cut somebody for good biscuits and gravy, but that's just me.
Well, I do like the barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
I do love that.
We rock that here.
And I
Do
found
you go to JD's?
No.
Where do you guys go?
We go Okie Dokies.
Oh, okay. I've heard of Okie Dokies.
We did sort of discover that that's a thing, that you have to declare your allegiance to your favorite barbecue place.
Yeah,
It sort of is, isn't it?
Yeah.
People get weird about barbecue. I'll tell you now, I am totally liberal barbecue fan. I will try it all. Yeah. I don't care. I love Eastern. We were the Toot and Tell, I think was the name of the restaurant. We went on a tour and the restaurant was called Toot and Tell.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was soul food, right?
Yeah.
And they had some barbecue there, and I rocked it. I didn't care.
Cool.
It was awesome.
That is somebody working,
and I think I tooted.
totally inevitable.
It turned out it was a drive-in, and you toot and get your food at the drive-in, and then it just became a restaurant.
I think it's
barbecue,
a little bit of
though.
a double meaning there,
but have you tried? Oh, of course. But have you tried any other places, or have there's been like? Because I really do love our food. As I love Cuban food, and I'll always be loyal to Cuban food. But Southern food has my heart.
It is.
It's number one, in my opinion. But I didn't know if there was anything like sweet tea. Like, I know that's an adjustment, too.
Yeah. I love collard greens.
Really?
And I love fried okra.
That's another one that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a place here, Hunter's Chicken and Waffles, which is, man, they're not even a mile from here. And we swear by the collard greens there.
Ooh.
And the okra. They got fried corn nuggets. Have you ever had a fried corn nugget?
No.
Oh, my God.
That's something, see, in our area, people can fry anything.
It's basically sweet corn fried,
Okay.
and it looks like a little hush puppy, baby hush puppy, and it's amazing. Yeah, hush puppies, yeah.
I love them. Yeah.
So
Cool.
it sounds like you and your husband embrace Southern food pretty quick.
Yeah.
Took to it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. But we're not here. We're not here to talk about food.
That's right.
So, when did you get into music? What got you into music, and how long have you been, writing your own songs?
Yeah. I first got into music probably in the 3rd grade when I started playing violin.
Yeah, you're one of those that plays everything.
Yeah,
She plays everything, Jimmy.
I started with violin.
She's all humble about it, and then like on half, she played bass on half of the most of the record, right?
Yeah,
acoustic guitars. What else? We did a bunch of crazy stuff.
Mando.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did. You have a Roland. Is it the D50?
JV30.
The JV30.
Vintage.
It's a vintage Roland keyboard, man.
Shoot.
That thing is dope. It's on the record too.
Yep.
So you started in like 3rd grade.
Yeah. And I took violin lessons for about 5 years or so through our school. We had
Really?
It was a terrible school system, but it had a great music program.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, it really did. And
That's cool. And
Yeah.
you're an Italian family, right? Italian family, and
very Italian neighborhood and culture and that whole
yeah, man.
vibe there. But so then by the time I got to 7th grade, violin was just not cool enough for me.
And you switched to
guitar.
oh yeah.
And a friend of mine was
It was over after that, wasn't
that was it. No, a friend of mine. Her parents were fortunate enough to be able to give her some guitar lessons, and I was fortunate enough to have her as my friend because she taught me everything she knew.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of
2nd generation lessons.
right.
Right there.
So she and I, we'd get together and just play, and that's probably when I first started writing songs. So I was probably like a teenager, early teens.
I started in middle school.
Yeah.
I started, I was I was an 80s glam kid, and listening to, there was a Christian band that looked like a bunch of girls called Striper.
Oh, I remember.
And they put out a record called To Hell with the Devil. It was very controversial. Growing up in a Christian household, they were like, these guys look like girls. I was like, I don't care. And I bought a guitar tab book, and the first page was like how to play heavy metal. I remember this. I still have the book.
That's funny.
I still have the book, right?
Oh boy. Yeah.
I still have the book.
That's
and
awesome.
There are notes in these books where I would just write songs,
Wow.
My dad had a lot of music gear, so I would just go in there and grab gear and plug it in. But so you started writing in middle school.
Right.
So when did you, I know you've done some recording in the past.
Yes.
So when did you do, you were, went on to high school and college. And so what did you do professionally?
I'm a physician. I'm
a
MD.
physician. That
Yes.
was the title,
Yes.
right?
Yes, but my specialty is pathology.
Okay. And you were the first female in your family
Yes, to go to medical school.
to go to medical school. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how many years, you did that till you retired, correct?
Yes.
And you-
no, not pathology. I went into the pharmaceutical business
Later
thing.
on?
Yes,
But pathology,
yeah.
explain to me what pathology
Yeah,
is.
for our less
Please. We're
wise members here.
we have very limited knowledge between the both of us here.
Yeah.
Most people identify pathology with like on TV, the folks are doing autopsies,
You mean like bones?
Yeah, those kinds of things. And that's what some pathologists do. They're forensic pathologists, but most pathologists have a really less glamorous job. They're in the bowels of the hospital. You don't see them. They're just down there doing their thing. But most of what they do are like process specimens, like surgical specimens. If you had a mole removed or your tonsils out or anything like that.
You were double checking all that stuff.
That's right. We look at it for disease under the microscope or something. But we occasionally do autopsies too. That's part of what we do. We run the hospital labs. That's our other main thing.
Like
God bless
autopsies on dead people.
Yes.
Well, hopefully.
Not usually on live people. No.
I'm just thinking
If they're
through
alive,
this.
I think that's in a different bracket.
So how many of these have you done, would you say?
I think about 200.
What's the grossest thing you've seen?
Oh my gosh.
Of course.
Make us gross. We just ate a mountain burrito. Let's do this.
Two guys.
Make us throw up. No.
Oof. Man.
Remember PG.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Some of them were really
gross.
The grossest PG thing.
Well, I did see somebody who shot the top of his head off. That was pretty gross.
And you had to figure out exactly how it happened.
Well, I was acting in the role of a deputy forensic pathologist in Vermont.
Okay.
And when I was doing my residency, and they sent me out in the field to go declare this guy dead and get him processed for an autopsy. What? In the middle of the night. Oh, it was really...
In the middle of the night.
In like this incredibly remote farm.
Of course.
Like it was so pitch black.
So farmer dude was not happy, I guess.
No, it was so pitch black that all you could see was blackness and the red and blue lights in the distance.
Oh, no.
Did that freak you out?
And this was in your residency?
Yes.
Woo-hoo. They're breaking you in.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was so naive.
And this was for like the law enforcement, right? So this was like the official, hey, this person shot himself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was so naive and still learning that I didn't know, I could see that the guy had no top of his head left. And it was the biggest rifle I have ever seen in my life.
Smokes.
The cops had recovered and said he had done himself in, which was rather sad. But, wow. Yeah.
And what was the funniest thing? Did you see anything that was just like crazy out there professionally?
But it would be so totally not PG. So totally not PG. I cannot.
So what we're saying is, later on when you meet Patty and I'm at a show,
you'll have to
just ask her.
So when you see her at a gig, guys, ask her what that story was. You're gonna have to tell me after the podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
Did you have anything that may be lighter for our audience, maybe? 'Cause I think that's
this is just like a loaded question.
Stuff that comes out of little kids' noses.
Oh yeah,
like coins
they
and
cram everything up there.
Legos and whatever.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that. So professionally, you obviously had a very good career. Mm-hmm. How did you juggle like the idea of music? Like, how did you? Because it's always there, right?
Right.
The creative side. Right.
And it was really rather sporadic through all the time that I was getting my education and so forth. I would touch upon it here and there. I think the most consistent thing I did most of that time was be in some sort of community chorus. Yeah. So I would sing choral music. Mm-hmm. I was even briefly in an opera company.
Yeah, I was going to say you did some theater stuff too, right?
Theater's more recently.
Okay.
It's more recently, but I sang Aida in Boston in the Boston Lyric Opera Company, and like I said, was in choruses now and then, but it was always something like I had to take call or something, and it just didn't work into my life.
It consumed your life.
It did. And so I think was when I took a little bit of a break in the mid-90s, because I realized that I loved pathology. I just didn't like the practice of it. I liked the learning and the training, but the practice wasn't cutting it for me. So I was kind of like, I don't know, what am I going to do now? Because I spent literally 12 years preparing to be a pathologist and realized
and then you were
I didn't want to do it.
This is not for me.
Right. So
that happens.
Yeah, it did. And as I was sort of thinking about it and sort of trying to figure out what I was going to do next, I took that opportunity about a year and a half to do. That's when I did my recording.
Okay.
And I initially was, trying to get back into songwriting, and I always felt really weak with lyrics. So I put an ad in a local arts paper. It was kind of like the Mountain Express is in Asheville. Mm-hmm. And I just put an ad and said, I'm looking for somebody to write lyrics, and I'll do the music. If you're a frustrated lyric writer and don't know how to play anything, call me. So I got a hold of this guy named Steve Smith, and he and I wrote a bunch of songs, maybe like 8 or 9 songs together.
Nice.
And at that time, that's when I bought my JV30 Roland keyboard.
Roland keyboard.
I had some,
which has turned out to be a pretty vintage beast.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think we were talking the other day about the kind of software I used to use.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you about about the process, because her process, Jimmy. Wait till you hear this. This is pretty unique. So explain to Jimmy how you write your stuff.
Okay, so I had a keyboard which I used as for your podcast audience. It's what we call a MIDI controller or a MIDI input device. It's a way I could tell the computer.
And what year was this?
This is like 94, 95.
Y'all, computers in 94 and 95.
Nothing like they are today.
Were I can't even compare.
Yeah.
I can't even explain to how limited that computer was.
Right.
Okay, and it was a Mac, right?
Yep, it was a Mac.
At that time, it was only you had to have a Mac to do anything creative.
Yeah.
So I had this software called Encore. And Encore, when it came up on the screen, was basically looked like sheet music that was blank.
Okay.
And if I wanted a piano to play a C chord, I just entered the C chord, and if I wanted it to be for 3 beats, I designate that and just hit the C chord, and then I get a C chord play back to me. And then if my next note was going to be just a D, I just type that in and so forth. And then I would compose.
Notated.
Yes.
She composed and notated. In the 90s.
Yeah.
In Encore. Encore sort of like it ended up being bought and sold a few times, right?
Yes.
So
I knew of something called Finale.
yes,
It's like that.
I think it's now Sibelius. I think it's in Pro Tools now. And a lot of software, modern software, does have notation.
As we found out.
Yeah, so we did. We did some research, but that's so unique. That's so cool.
So much time, right? Like takes a long time.
Once you get started, so many things, like I would write a bass line or I'd write a drum track. Mm-hmm. With a drum track especially, you just copy that and paste.
See, that's brilliant. If you know that, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is brilliant when you think about that.
It really didn't take that very, very long at all, really.
Well, then that'd be about the same thing as you in Pro Tools. I mean,
Yeah,
anytime you come in here with Ricky, it's just like, it's done.
Yeah, but it's, that's just
knowing the tool.
Spending endless amount of hours in front of it.
Yeah.
But I just think that's such a unique process because songwriting, everybody's different. A good Bit and Blunt sent me a song today. I'm going to play guitar on for him, and he does it in Logic. And he uses like these cool drum beats in Logic, and it's Benton. It's awesome. It's really cool. It's a really cool hooky track. But his process is different than yours, or
right.
Even though I don't really write a lot of original music for myself these days, or I'll do some little creative things for side projects. Like I usually sit down with a beat and a guitar. Like for me, it all starts with the guitar.
Yeah.
And sometimes over the years, I have written songs where I'll hear the chorus progression, but I have a guitar beside my bed, and I just grab the guitar and boom, 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 and come in here and knock it out. So the fact that you have to notate it is awesome.
Right. Well, that was then.
Yeah.
That's not my current process.
So what are you doing? What's changed now?
What's changed now is that I couldn't find for the longest time until you helped me with that. Any of that software, I kind of stopped doing it, and if you don't keep up with the updates, forget about it. It's gone.
Forget it.
So I was very frustrated looking around, couldn't find it again. So I said, well, I do play guitar, so let me just do that. And I just basically worked up all those songs that we recorded with either my guitar or my ukulele.
Yeah.
And just singing,
It's cool, man. And what inspired, like, your songs it's really cool, Jimmy. Some of her songs are just very simple, folk kind of tunes. And because you go to songwriting.
I do. I've taken a lot of songwriting stuff. Yeah.
And so when we're going back to the professional musical thing, like when you were done professionally, right, with your professional career, was your goal ultimately, hey, I want to pursue this part of my life that I had to put on hold? Was that?
Absolutely. Because since I graduated from high school, I even knew then that as soon as I finished actually working my life, I was going to devote it back to music.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I over the years, I've had personal friends of mine that I've recorded for or have worked with at some level, and I've seen them separate the two. Like it's either or, know, and I like the audience to know it's not either or. I have seen people totally drop their creative side and just, go work or, focus on their family, whatever their thing is, Yeah. And what I think is unique and cool about what you've done is you never let that go.
No.
That was your end game, right?
Yep.
And that's really cool. That's really cool, and I think it's really good for people to hear that story, you know, because I think we all sacrifice stuff for whatever.
Absolutely.
Like if you decide to have kids, you know, you're going to sacrifice something of yourself, even
your guitars.
Oh my God. Yeah, but you do.
Whether you sell them or not, the kid's going to beat it up.
Exactly.
It's just not workable.
Exactly. But they're, you know, I think people sometimes, I don't know why they're creating music. You know, sometimes I do think there's a business reason. Like maybe their whole idea is, okay, we want to hit the big time for whatever reason, and it doesn't happen. But my argument for people that are questioning, you know, why they're doing what they're doing, it creatively, it's something that it's in you, right? Whatever reason, if God puts it there, whatever. I don't want to define why it's there.
Sure.
You know, but it's there, right? And I think, and I've seen it manifest. I've seen people that have walked away from music and sort of focused on their professional and family life, only to write books later, right? I've seen that happen, and I've seen different things happen. Right. So I think it's cool that here we've got Patty. You know, she had a great career, right? You know, all these dead bodies she analyzed.
She had a great career with dead
And then
people.
Professionally, you also traveled, right? All over the world, right?
Yeah.
When I was pharmaceutical?
in the pharmaceutical field, yes.
In the field. Was it for the government, or it was for an agency that worked with the government?
Kind of both, yeah.
Okay.
The agency, this group that I worked with both the FDA kind of agencies, and like CDC and stuff like that, and those kinds of similar agencies all over the world.
And I'm assuming that was incredibly complicated when you're dealing with bureaucracy.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking about medicines and drugs, and we don't need to get into that, but I can't imagine the logistics of that.
Yeah,
okay,
it's cool.
So, but it's crazy that you got into that, right? You obviously found it satisfying. You got you know, that got you out of the pathology field. But getting back to how you got to music, you know, when you came here, you knew you were going to plug in, right?
I knew I wanted to do that. I think when I got here, you know, I hadn't really looked at the area from a point of view of what's going on musically.
Yeah, I was about to ask that.
I really wanted to just make sure it was the right fit for us. I figured I'd do something with the music one way or the other.
Sure.
And so when I thought about where we were in Appalachia and everything, I thought, like probably a lot of people who aren't from around here, that it's almost exclusively bluegrass. And I was just completely amazed at the variety of music.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It just struck me.
Asheville is a melting pot.
Oh, it's crazy.
And it always has been.
Yeah.
You know, they're sort of immune economically to things up there. I feel like it's always been the place that me and my wife would go to. There's always been unique restaurants up there over the years. Yeah. And the Orange Peel, man, I have seen some great shows up there, and it's still around, you know. And so I think that's part of the reason. There's a college up there, right? Yeah. And there's a reason why that town has stayed young, you know, fresh, and there's always been good stuff. So it's cool that you were able to get up there, and then that's when you got into the, you know, the workshops and things.
Right,
too,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, there's some people may have heard of Swannanoa Gathering. Swannanoa is a little town right outside of Asheville, a little east of it, and there's a college there called Warren Wilson College, and every summer they have these series of workshops that are based around folk and traditional music. But they have like a guitar week and a songwriting week and so forth.
And you just plugged in.
Yeah.
So, that sounds rad.
That is,
that sounds super rad.
That's super cool. So we need to, I think it may be cool to put something in the podcast notes about that. You think that would be cool?
Yeah, sure.
You know, let people know what's going on, because I think that's unique.
Yeah, and it's great. It's a really nice
So you were surprised, I guess, at the diversity.
I was, and I was like thrilled. I mean, imagine coming someplace and thinking, well, I like it. I think I like it, and then finding out is absolutely the perfect place you should be, and that's what it's felt
really
like.
Cool.
That is neat.
Yeah. I keep kicking myself saying, why didn't I move down here earlier?
Yeah.
See, I think more people need to hear that.
Yeah.
Right?
I think just piggybacking on what you said, not even making that a point or a reason in your decision to move here, and then finding out that it's
Perfect.
oh
fit.
wow, yeah, it's also exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
So how did you find me? Did somebody reference you? I don't even remember.
Yes, Todd.
Todd Green.
Referenced you.
My man. Todd works for Outreach Center, which is a local... No, wait. I'm not sure what the ministry's called. Horizon Church, I think, is what it's called. I'm going to mess this up, and they're going to yell at me. But Todd...
But it is Todd Green.
Yeah, Todd Green, and I've already talked to him. I definitely want to have him on because he's working for a nonprofit, and he's great. Another songwriter. He was in Nashville for a long time.
Yeah,
from this area. Mm-hmm. But I just did a single for him recently. Man, we had a blast. Bluesy, soulful, vocal, sweet guy.
He is very nice.
Very sweet guy. I saw him at Mount Burrito forever, and we would just talk, and we're talking for like 3 years. I didn't know he did music. It was crazy. He told me, like, I was like, what? Huh. He was like, I think I want to record. I'm like, bro, let's go.
Meant to happen.
I didn't even care. I never even heard him sing. I'm like, I don't care. Let's do it. I just liked him. And it turns out he's really good, man.
Yeah.
Like, his track came out great. So that is cool. So you met him, and that's how you got here.
That's right.
And hopefully I didn't scare you. Obviously, I did not scare you too bad.
No, I don't know if I told you the whole process, but I was really gratified to know there was a lot of potential places I could have gone.
Oh yeah, well, there's good places here.
There's lots of great places, and I basically wrote to every songwriter in the area that I know and trust, and said, "Tell me who you would recommend." And I literally went to all of them.
There's great.
You're the last one.
Asheville. She came to Morganton. She saw the Cubans. That was it.
She saw the Cubans.
That was it. But Asheville has Echo Mountain, which is like Echo Mountain is a beautiful studio.
Fantastic.
Old church, 2 rooms. You got the upstairs Neve, sexy. Yeah. Okay, the Neve is the soundboard, guys. It's old. Think old 70s, late 60s.
Like the size of a room.
It's literally the size of a room. And then downstairs you have the API, which is API is like more of a modern, think Tom Petty, earlier Tom Petty tones, and that's what an API is, right? And they have an API board downstairs. And it's an old church, right? And I forgot the name of the dude that owns the studio, but he's from the West Coast. I think he made his money in the 90s. Out, I think, in Seattle. Came here, opened some restaurants, and then opened that studio. Cool. But there's some other studios there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people doing good things.
Absolutely. And and like I said, it was mainly the ones I talked to were mainly around here. But I think what clinched it with you, Ricky, was when you said something to the effect of, and I'm paraphrasing, I want, when at the end of the record, I want people to go, wow. Yeah.
That.
And I said, okay, that's it.
I do. I really do.
Yeah.
There's a segment of this industry, right or wrong, I'm not going to argue, but, if you walk into a town like Nashville, to them, you're going to spend a lot of money for what they would consider a demo. Okay? A demo, to me, is a unfinished idea. Like, it has all this potential, but why even bother doing that? Like, why even record the song if you're not going to, like, get after the song? And we sort of, like, every song, to me, there's multiple paths, right, to the goal, right? But you have to go down these paths to figure out what's going to work for the song.
Right.
And I do not like listening to songs that I feel were not treated that way.
Right.
And it's expensive. It's expensive when you're in a major town. People don't realize when you add studio time and you're paying engineers, you're paying musicians, it's a properly recorded song. In a town like Nashville, you could spend $3,000 a song.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Easy.
I believe it.
Easy. Yeah. Now, you'll get a great product, and I'm not dissing that, but my idea has always been, hey man, we're gonna do what's right for the song. I don't care about the time. I don't care about anything else. And I think that's probably what I was thinking. But, but again, I think I just connected with what you were doing, and and I think we spent more time talking about your past, right? I think I was like, "What? Why are you doing this?" Right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think we spent most of that time just talking about.
Yeah, and I think I told you something like it was just like the time has come. I mean, I've waited a long time, and
that's another thing. You had been waiting a long time, and I felt honored that you actually. Yeah, I mean, it's important to me. It's important to me that you let me do that. Like when you said, "Hey, I'm ready to go," I was like, awesome. I was like, yes. I was like, let's go. But man, that's neat. That's neat. But so Patty,
yes,
you're also like in a couple of groups, right?
I'm in one group.
What's the name of that group?
Sorella Jack.
Okay, and it's you and two other ladies.
Yes.
And you're busy.
Oh yes.
Very busy with this group.
Yeah, pretty busy with them, and between them, that's where I fit in my gigs too. So yeah, I'm going all the time.
You stay very busy. That was another thing that impressed me is that you have you've really built something there.
I will gig anywhere, anytime, anything. I mean, just play.
That's what I was going to ask you. Are you is that group mostly regional or just goes all over the place?
Regional right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're
but
slowly kind of
wineries, right?
Wineries, brew pubs, restaurants, festivals. You name it, we'll play it.
Weddings now. You told me some weddings.
Weddings. Right? We've been doing some private parties. We'll do things like at Christmas time and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's killer.
And how did you build that? Like, how did you guys, I mean, how did you meet that, the girls and how,
Yeah. Well, the first person I connected with was Melody Cox, who has been in this area for quite a little bit longer than me, maybe 10 or 11 years or so. And she was kind of one of the pioneers of this sort of winery singer thing.
Yeah.
She was one of the first ones doing that. And I think she started over in South Creek.
Yeah.
That might be me. She started over in South Creek Winery.
Okay.
And just doing some of her own songs as well as some covers. And my husband and I used to go there to South Creek. And I would see her playing. And I just sort of struck up a conversation because I was thinking I would love to do the same thing that she's doing. And I said, gee, I was just talking with her, and I said, gee, I used to do some recording back 20 or so years ago. So I played her. I had on my phone on iTunes. I played her one of my recordings. She goes, we should talk. So initially, she and I got together as a duo, and we were going to do some songwriting. That really didn't so much come to fruition, the songwriting, but we just put together a nice set of 30, 40 songs that we could play at the wineries. And we were 4 weeks away from our debut at Silver Fork Winery here in Morganton. Mm-hmm. 4 weeks away when we got approached by another person who used to go to the wineries, Leah Wall, who's our current percussionist. And she said, gee, I heard you guys are singing together. Can I maybe sing with you guys?
Wow.
And we said, you have 4 weeks to learn all these songs, so let's go.
Yeah.
So, and I give her credit. She did it. And
so you guys have been together since?
We have been together since 2014 was our first year together.
And you do some of your original songs with
we do a few of our originals. We do mostly covers.
And then, but what about your stuff? Like, I know you do some gigs where you're doing some of your original stuff too.
Yes,
right?
when I gig solo, I do a little bit more of my original stuff. Yeah,
that is great.
We'll definitely put links in the show notes.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to make sure. we can find your information, and because your record. We're going to be done soon, and I'm really excited about it.
Me too.
I'm excited about it, and I want to make sure that we help you promote that.
Thank you.
When it comes out, because I'm assuming we'll have it on all digital places there. But are there any songs that like surprised you on the new record that like once we started working on them and we started doing some things? Are there any particular anybody can look forward to? We'll make a note, but. Yeah. Is there anything maybe that you're like, hey, I'm really excited about somebody hearing this song?
Oh, I think My Old Schwinn, which is a real favorite at my gigs. People love that.
Yeah, it's bluesy. It's raunchy. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah.
Raunchy is the key word.
Well, if you saw Patty, right, I'm serious. Like, that's the first song I heard her play, and I was like, this is dope. It's like, it did not match
Yeah.
what I was looking at.
Yeah.
I'm like, and
We're breaking down stereotypes and barriers.
I loved that.
With
Me
tunes.
too.
I was like, that is great.
I've got to hear it now, man.
It's cool, man. It's cool. Well, Jason, our drummer that we use for that,
he's fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Not to get too on the technical side, but there are some songs where there's just like 4 drum mics on these songs, and it just sounds perfect.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
Like
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about people hearing what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
But so, how can anybody find you?
I'm on Facebook at Patty with a Y, M Music. So
All right.
Patty M Music.
Sweet, and we'll make sure to have the links for that.
But yeah, for Sorella Jack, it's just Sorella Jack.
Yeah.
Just one word.
And-
SORELLAJACK.
Okay.
Very cool. Jimmy, do you have any questions?
Bombs
for her?
away time, baby.
Yes. Let's go, Patty.
Every episode that we have a special guest on, we ask 3 questions. 2 are, pertain to them, and the third one is always the same. So we'll get to it.
Let's do it.
Number 1, what is one of your very favorite single moments on stage ever? Just one of them, because you look like you just love music so much. They're probably all great.
Yeah. Oh golly. Well, I don't know, man. Hard to. I think it's with Sorella Jack for sure. Because sometimes when we just play it together, we just yeah.
I know. That
I think
feeling.
every time Melody sings, we sing a cover of Hallelujah. And she does the what's his name, Leonard Cohen version of it, or not the Leonard Cohen version, the I can't remember the guitar player. Do you remember
Jeff Buckley?
Yeah, that version of it.
Jeff Buckley was magical.
And every time we do that, it's like
chill bumps.
Yeah. So I think that's that.
Okay.
I love that
Rad.
Jeff Buckley reference, boy.
Sorella Jack. Oh, hallelujah.
Yes.
Jeff Buckley.
Right on. Okay, number 2 then. What would you tell an aspiring musician who's working a very strenuous job like you've had?
Don't give up.
I kind of thought you were going to say that.
Never, ever too old. You're not.
Nah, I love that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
Love that.
I mean, look
Absolutely.
at me. I'm,
Living the dream.
I got silver hair, but I'm rocking, so I'm happy with
She's making raunchy songs in the bomb house.
Yes, she is.
So.
These are cool, man. I'm telling you, man. It's cool.
Right on.
It's very cool.
And finally, what is your favorite taco and where was it ever from?
Gee, I'm burrito.
Don't feel pressure.
No. Seriously, I'm not much of a taco person.
Yeah.
And actually, these past few weeks, I've been getting a taco salad mostly, which has been delicious. But I just started getting your single taco thing.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Delicious.
Okay.
Yeah, their pork is
Yeah,
awesome.
it's the most
Yum, yum.
unique
There you go,
thing.
Brian. Man,
Boom.
we are really ticking them up for Mountain Burrito right
Yeah,
now.
we are. But Patty, thank you for doing this for me.
Yeah, thank you
and
so
for
much.
us.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
I think your story's not finished, obviously.
Just started.
And I can't wait. I can't wait for your future. And I think it's very encouraging. It encourages me to watch what you're doing. I know that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate what you're doing. So everybody, as time gets closer, we'll update our team on your record.
Thank you.
Through Facebook and all that good stuff. Our audience is growing.
We fully expect at least everybody who listens to this to buy your new record.
Everybody.
We fully expect it.
Stream it. Stream it. Just stream it like crazy.
And you can find your dates on Facebook.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so
it's up on like boards too. I think I saw it at the grocery store. Right?
Yeah. This gets and it also gets picked up by a lot of these other places around here that advertise for
Cool.
local
They're
musicians.
gonna take over.
right on.
Yeah.
Jimmy, my beard's feeling dry.
Uh-oh.
Is there? I have an issue with my beard. Can
It
you help me?
It sounds like you need some Ruddy Man Beer Company
I
stuff.
just set you up beautifully for this.
That was a great alley-oop.
I know, man.
Yeah, you can go to ruddymanbeard.com for all of your beard grooming needs. Or if you just want to connect with me as a person, Jimmy Atkins Music. Or just find me Jimmy Atkins Music on Facebook or Instagram.
Do it. And for the podcast, is bombhousepodcast.com. All of our social media is on that webpage, and we have multiple platforms.
We do.
Our podcast is on. Once again, we're always going to be committed to encouraging and introducing you to people that are important to our area that we think that have a really cool value. And this won't be the last time you're on. I really do feel like it's going to be important for us to follow up.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you, Patty. Patty M. And she brought us some cookies. Yeah. What's it called again? What did you bring?
They're called pizzelle.
Oh, listen to that.
Man.
Well, I had one.
She even said it with this beautiful accent.
And I had one right before we started.
See, my wife, your wife, they both work in like foreign language departments.
Yes, they do. They do.
They'd be freaking out right now.
Well, I can tell you now, my wife is. I'm gonna have to hide these.
Shasta is probably gonna just rewind that part, and she's like, just listen. Just listen to that beautiful accent.
All right. So, bombhousepodcast.com. Check out Patty M. Check out Jimmy. We do appreciate you guys. Peace out.
Bye.
Laying down that adios and no smoking in my studio. Sound coming through the stereo. How you feeling shook? Vertigo.